Good morning. It's a little bit chilly here this morning, and it's Monday. So here we are with pause, and I hope that you had a beautiful, beautiful weekend. I had a great weekend. I had my first online day retreat with my group clients, where we did a half-day retreat on increased your intuition, and it was really fun. It was lovely. I enjoyed. It was our first one. We have two in our Conscious Creator Mastermind. And so then I went up to Sydney on Sunday and had some time at my mum's house. And so what did you do on the weekend that was different, or did you fulfill yourself? Did you fill your cup? So without further ado, today is pause, and I wanted to talk about what is it, what's the most, what's the best investment that you could ever do, right? Best investment. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can invest. You can invest in property. Real estate's always going in and out and up and down, and it's crazy. You can invest in the stock exchange. That's also not guaranteed results, right? You can invest in all sorts of things. You can invest in somebody else's business. That's another opportunity that you can invest in. And you can, there's various different ways that you can invest. However, the most important and the investment that, when done correctly, gives you 100% return is when you invest in yourself. When you invest in yourself, right? And so we have, I this morning I stayed in bed for a little while, and I actually was scrolling, not straight away, but I did scroll for the first time in a while. And I came across two different posts from two different friends of mine. And one of them was talking about how she had invested thousands and thousands of dollars in herself, and how so many of her friends thought she was crazy, right? And couldn't see, thought she was in a cult at one stage because she invested something like $12,000 into Tony Robbins at one stage. She did $24,000 into a personal coach. All these different things that she invested in, and her business is soaring, right? And I didn't know her when she first started doing that, but I do know her now, and I see what she is creating. I see what the type of influencer she is online. And for her to write that, it was really interesting, because she was saying, so many people stopped following her and stopped, they all were thinking that she was crazy and that she was mad to be putting so much money in to all these different things to learn personal development and to create a different outcome for herself. And now she said these are the ones that are all in awe, watching as she's creating this beautiful, successful business. And then I saw another friend of mine who her post was about, she's also a leader in business, and she was talking about how most women that she works with are actually looking for freedom, that they're over they're challenged with their relationships, that they're working too hard, that they never have any downtime, that they're struggling financially or something like that, and that all of these things are causing them to not actually have the freedom that caused them to go into their desired career in the first place. And so it's really interesting listening to, seeing those two different dynamics, because when you really invest in yourself and you choose you instead of the mainstream way of living of working really, really hard for somebody else and for retirement, right? So working hard, spending all of your money, and then finding that you've got hardly anything at the end, or being exhausted and being scrimpy with your money, and then getting to the end of your life and potentially not having the energy or the health to actually enjoy what it is that you choose to create in your retirement. When you live in that sort of paradigm, it's extremely unfulfilling, from what I have seen from my mum, from other people that have got to that age where they're getting to the end of their years and they haven't actually done everything that they wanted to do, and they got stuck in the story, the narrative of work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard, and then you're going to be fulfilled someday. And the someday actually never comes, right? So from what I've spent a lot of time investing in myself. I remember one of my mentors, one of the first times that I went into business training was with a woman, and that's one of the first things that she shared, is that her and her husband had invested in many things: real estate, stocks, businesses, and she said the only one that gets 100% return is when you invest in yourself. And so we all have this inner critic, right? We have this part of ourselves that is contradicting what we choose to create, because it's concerned for our safety. It's concerned that we will not be able to survive. It's concerned that in previous past experiences that some trauma happened or something, and so through that it locks in, this is our subconscious, it locks in that that's not survivable. If you strive, if you move into creating something that's unknown, then that part of us, the subconscious that's in these old patterns, is actually holding you back because it's trying to keep you safe, right? So when you invest in yourself, that can be quite concerning to the subconscious, because it thinks that it's not going to survive, that all of these patterns that has kept you alive all this time, even when it's been uncomfortable, even when it's been traumatic, even when it's been not a desirable outcome, at least you survived it. And so the subconscious is very, very tricky in that way, because it would prefer to survive than over anything. Over anything else, it's survival, right? And so the subconscious will keep you in pain and restricted, rather than move into growth and expansion and something that's in the unknown, just to make sure that you are surviving. So the inner critic is quite an interesting character, right? You could almost say the inner critic is a character of its own. And I actually had an experience over the weekend, and I've got to tell you, I nearly did this session today around forgiving and grieving, because and now I'm thinking I might even meld the two together, right? I had a thing happen on the weekend that I wasn't expecting. I was up in Sydney. No, actually, I was in Shell Harbour, and I was gathering some stuff. I'm going up to Brisbane, and I bought some stuff while I was here for people up there. And I rang someone up from a family member to ask a question about something, and without going into too much personal detail, I don't know who's watching, and the response I got was basically they had forgotten about forgotten to invite me somewhere, blah blah blah, right? And I get it. It was the reason for it was there's a lot going on in our family at the moment, and I can imagine when you don't have the tools to relax and the tools to learn how to manage your stress, then it can be an extremely stressful situation. My mum's in a nursing home, and we're having to work out a whole heap of stuff in the background, right? There's stuff that's going on. And so, you know, being who I am, I've been able to manage that quite well because of, you know, I've got tools to manage that, right? However, this took me for a 6. I was not expecting it. And my inner critic came out big time. And so I got really, really upset and offended. So, you know, we have this little identity, and the reason we've got it is to experience life. We're here to experience life, right? And so, you know, we can't pretend and spiritually bypass. People try. You know, you can pretend and try to spiritually bypass the things that happen, but we're here to experience. And so anyway, I got quite offended at this interaction that I had, and I was pissed off. I was really pissed off. And one of the things that I know for myself, because I've invested in myself, because I've got a lot of tools up my in my, you know, toolkit, I know when my identity comes up to really go with it and allow it to happen. And so I was pissed off. I was really, really annoyed that this experience had happened, right? And I went through the process for myself, because one of the things that I know is I work very, very well with my body. My one of my blueprints is I'm an energetic, right? And so I actually work extremely well with feeling things in my body. So when I'm pissed off, I want to experience pissed off. Now, how I experience that is very different. I did have someone say this, you know, this is not how most people, you know, like, I didn't throw things around or smash things. I did speak that out. I'd love to smash something, right? And just speaking it was enough for me, because my whole body went into annoyance, and I let it happen, because I don't want that stuck in my cells. I don't want to deny an aspect of myself coming out, because as you allow something to you know, like you have an experience, it creates a result, right? So I have this experience, and this result happens where my whole body was like furious about this experience. And so I allow it to happen, right? One of the ways that I allow that to happen is I breathe. So I, took some deep breaths in, and I'm really annoyed at this, right? Because you can get pissed off and annoyed about something and start locking it into your body, in different parts of your body. And if you're angry, often it can be your liver. And so I was breathing, and then I started processing. So my inner critic, my internal source that goes into the negative, started going through old stories. This happened this time, this happened this time, I did this, they did that. All of these things, right, started coming up. And as they came up, I was able to feel them. Like my solar plexus at one stage felt quite activated. In your solar plexus, that's where your emotional, or your power. This is the three powers, right? Power, powerless, and empowered happens. So I was obviously feeling quite powerless in this situation, and so my solar plexus, I could feel my solar plexus. And so as I started breathing, I could also feel my throat chakra, and so I just breathed, had that breath out, and released the energy that was in my throat chakra. And then I was able, because I allowed it, because I was allowing those energies, and knowing that this was a process, right? I wasn't getting caught up in the pain, I was allowing the pain. And so I wasn't getting caught up in the story, I was allowing the story. And so this happened and that happened and blah blah blah, and each time I was also able to go, yes, and this is the outcome, and this is the results, and this person was unconscious of what they were doing, and as Jesus said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, right? And so you can't ask someone to have a higher level of consciousness than they have in a situation, right? So that's another reason why you can let go of somebody's reaction or ignorance or whatever, because sometimes they just have no idea what they're doing. So I went through this process, and then felt sadness and went into grief, because I grieved why was I upset? Why was I annoyed at what had happened here? And the reason being was because it brought up my sabotage belief of not belonging and not being worthy of love. And so, I wasn't invited somewhere just out of complete, I hadn't thought about that, and sorry about that, but come if you want to now. And I'm like, oh yeah, as if I'm freaking coming now, right? And so I went through that, being angry, then I felt sadness, and then I grieved why I wanted to come, and all that sort of stuff, and let all of those emotions happen through my body, to come to the realization that actually it's not personal, it's actually because of these situations. It wasn't something, if this person had thought about it, they in its entirety, they would have invited me, and because of that, I can now, I'm going up to Brisbane. When I get back, I'm going to make a step towards an outcome that I want from this. So I went through the process, being pissed off, sadness, expressing that that energy so I could get it out of my body, releasing it out through my breath, and then feeling sadness, and then grief, and then realizing the emotion of, you know, like, this is just an experience I'm having, and being able to process that and go, you know, this is not personal, and I am valued in the family, even if they're not consciously, actively showing that in these situations. And what is it that I can do to rectify the situation? And so, you know, I'm going to, when I get back, I'm going to take my nephew out for his birthday. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend quality time in a different format, in a different way, right? And so the reason I'm telling you all of that is because I was able to go through a process very, very quickly. This all happened within a day. And looking at both avenues, if I express myself this way, these are the avenues, and this is the behaviors that potentially could happen, and these are the results that could potentially happen. If I don't express myself, or I express myself in a different way, these are the outcomes, right? And so looking at both sides with my clients, I do a thing called the double bubble, where we're looking at both sides, the advantages and disadvantages, and then being able to neutralize those so that either side, there's not a trigger that's happening in the body. And so being able to look at all of the different outcomes and making the choice for myself, which outcome do I choose based on the results that I want to get at the end? What is my desired end result? And what from that, what is it, the action that I'm going to take? Because often we get caught up emotionally in the trigger. We get caught up in the story. There's a couple of different places I see my clients go. They you know, before they start working with me, they tend to get caught up in the story or the emotion, and then they get stuck. They don't want to go anywhere, right? And they just sit there in that emotion and that energy, and that then relates into their body, and then they can't, you know, it becomes part of the cellular structure of the physical. It goes into the physical body and becomes a dis-ease in some way. Or another way is that they spiritually bypass it and pretend that it's all good, and gets caught up again. It becomes a physical thing, but gets completely caught up in the chakras and very restrictive in the body, and again causing some sort of disease and compression, some, you know, an internal compression inside the body, because you've not expressed who it is that you choose to be and who you are, because of some belief system about not being, you know, it's not a good girl thing to express yourself, or, you know, when you're spiritual you don't get angry. There's all these beliefs and definitions that we have that we need to really unpack to start being able to process this stuff and actually clear our bodies, clear our minds, and live the life that we choose and live the life we love, right? So yeah, that's not exactly where I was going to go with this. So, but it went there, and the reason I went there is to actually show you that when you invest in yourself and you understand you've got the tools to actually clear those things, because one of the things that you may know is that I do a thing called recoding, and often we actually need to clear the resistance to even looking at some of this stuff. So I've been able to process all of that really, really quickly compared to most people. Like, most people would go into this, you know, whole couple of months and completely ruin the family relationship and destroy all the stuff that's going on through the process, because I'm so hurt that, you know, I'm going to hurt other people or whatever it might be. You know, I'm going to get into defense because they've triggered something in me that makes me want to react, or to shut the mouth so much and not say anything that it's all internal within you and you're damaging your own body. And so when you have the tools, when you invest in yourself and you clear those things from your body, or you clear and you know the steps to take, and you've done it so long that, you know, it's a day. I actually think it took I think it happened Saturday afternoon. Yeah, Saturday afternoon, and by Sunday mid-morning I had come to a solution that was going to be right for me. I'm going to express myself in a certain way, so that I'm expressing my what I need to express without it being, you know, anybody else's fault. And I'm going to take an action through that, so that I then have the outcome that I want, right? Which is, you know, in this particular instance, is to be an amazing auntie, right? So what is it you want to create in your life, and are you investing in yourself to get the results that you require? Because one of the things that a lot of clients come to me for is to live the life they love. And these are those little inner nuances that can cause you to actually not be living the life that you love. These little daily challenges, these things that can happen, that can upset the apple cart, as they say, and then you start, you know, you think you're living the life you love, but you've got this internal inner critic and battle going on, because you're not actually working with the things that you need to work with, and clearing them out of your body, and enjoying life and being the conscious creator that you can be. So that's me. I hope that you got some value out of this, and that you know, when you can actually invest in yourself and work with someone that is has walked the path before you, and gives you the tools to be able to work through this sort of stuff, it's an amazing life. It's amazing to be able to be at peace. Be at peace. That's what it is. It's about being at peace, and being able to truthfully and authentically be joyful. Because when you are the creator of your life, you actually call the shots, and you make the decisions how you're feeling about something, instead of it being sabotaged or hijacked from previous past conditioning, or family, you know, past life challenges or triggers, and also with what was I going to say? Oh, family epigenetic stuff, right? You know, generational history of how people work with these sort of things. So that's me. I'm in an ahhing and taking my time sharing all of that. I hope you got some value out of it, and enjoy your life. Enjoy each moment. Be aware of what the desired outcome you want. Who do you want to be in any situation? Who do you choose to be? And you know, clear that stuff out of your body. Get it all out, so it doesn't get caught up in your cells and become a dis-ease in any way. And I will catch you next time. See ya.